Tonight, there's a jury in the Whitey Bulger trial, but tempers flare in the courtroom. We have the latest. Plus,
Tim's a talented player.
Patriot Nation welcomes Tim Tebow, while Bruins fans dream of another Stanley Cup. And Boston hosts the Rolling Stones for possibly the last time. That's now on Greater Boston. Good evening. A lot of things on the move tonight as a jury is seated in the James Whitey Bulger trial. 70 people came into the Moakley courthouse this morning, and all but 18 were told to go home. But that also led to some fireworks in court. Joining me now are Adam Reilly, who saw it all happen in court today, and criminal defense lawyer John Cunha. Welcome.
Hey, Emily.
So first, let's start with the jury itself. Tell us who got picked.
18 people, 12 jurors, and 6 alternates. 11 men and 7 women in the pool. The alternates are 3 men and 3 women. A couple African Americans, a couple Asians, but predominantly a white group of people.
And who are these? A psychiatrist and a stay-at-home dad? How's that going to work, by the way, if he's a stay-at-home dad?
Well, the judge, I actually remember the interaction between Judge Casper and the stay-at-home dad who made the cut. She wanted to make sure that he could, he has drop-off duty for his kids, but there are some days he can get away with not doing it. And she asked him, does the fact that we'll be wrapping up around 4 days a week, will that make your burden any easier? And he said, yes, it would. So. These people are going to have their, they'll be, the government will be getting more than their money's worth out of these people over the next 4 months.
So,
certainly.
Jack, is this unprecedented that they could go through 675 or 870 or however many people it was in just a handful of days? I mean, even going through 70 today, that's just...
Well, 70 today was not that difficult. It was how they got to the 70 that was interesting. By using a questionnaire, and I think it was like a 13-page questionnaire, and then calling in, as far as I know, an unprecedented number of people. I heard it was like about 850. Yeah. They were able to winnow the pool down relatively quickly. Just think about it. If you had to ask all of those people one by one a series of questions, it would have taken weeks. Yeah. So when Judge Casper announced last week that she wanted to start the trial on Friday, I mean, everybody was giggling. Said, no way.
On Wednesday, you mean?
She first said Friday, but the fact that it even happened by Tuesday is unbelievable.
So she really made it happen.
She made it happen. I think that she probably had the assistance of the parties. A questionnaire has to be agreed upon. Usually, I mean, sometimes the judge will make a decision one way or the other, but for the most part, they're going to have to agree on the questionnaire. So the parties necessarily cooperated to get it done as well.
Okay, Adam. So there was some fireworks in court today. Another call for cameras in the courtrooms. Something that we couldn't see, but tell us what happened.
So essentially, as you know, the defense has argued that John Martirano, the mass murderer who's a key government witness in this case, has continued engaging in criminal behavior and has been the beneficiary of protection and a cover-up on the part of the state police. This is a claim made by a state police officer. It was investigated by the state police and deemed to be a bogus claim, but the defense says we want all the documents involving this claim of a cover-up. The prosecution says no, there's no need for that. And today, Judge Casper there was an indication that she was going to side with the government, as she ultimately did. But when she was saying, well, they've investigated extensively, this doesn't seem to be a factual claim, J.W. Carney, the attorney for Whitey Bulger, exploded. He actually shouted down Judge Casper. It's the first time I've seen this happen in my time reporting on trials, shouted her down saying, you don't know that it's not factual. You haven't interviewed the trooper who made these claims. How can you say it's not factual? And as a loyal Law and Order watcher, I thought this was the moment where the judge would say, counsel, this is untoward, and one more word. Yeah, exactly. But she didn't. She sort of let him vent over the course of maybe 3 or 4 minutes. He toned it down a bit.
Did he apologize?
He didn't apologize. He kept pressing his point, but he moderated his tone. Then a couple minutes later, Fred Wyshak, the attorney for the government, started talking about how disappointed he was in the defense's conduct, saying they're impugning the integrity of this prosecution team, and it's unfair and it's scurrilous. And Wyshak's voice starts to tremble sometimes when he's emotional, and it was trembling in this case, saying, I hope this behavior will not continue during the trial. And then Carney shoots back, oh, it'll continue. And then they just start shouting at each other in the courtroom. Wow. And Judge Casper has to shout down the two of them, sort of like when a parent shouts down a couple of unruly kids. It was fascinating.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it can continue at that level, or it's not going to do anybody any good, is it, Judge?
Well, it's a long trial. Yeah. But you've got two very good lawyers and passionate lawyers. To look at it from Jay's point of view, for the judge to say, it's been investigated and it's not factual. Well, that was exactly what was said back in the 90s when they were talking about...
Exactly.
Yeah. So
talking about Whitey Bulger.
They're talking about James Bulger. So...
the corrupt government, the FBI.
Yeah. Oh, it's all fixed now? It's all fixed, so now we don't have to worry about it. Why should that be a given? And... So it's going to be an interesting several months.
So going back to the jury for a minute, obviously they weren't in court during these exchanges or anything, but what did the judge tell them? What kind of instructions did they give them as they were? And by the way, did these people seem pleased that they had been chosen?
I actually was today, and this will be different tomorrow when I'll be in the courtroom. So if I was in the media room where you can see, you have a better look at Whitey Bulger's face as these things are going on, but you can't see the jurors unless they're brought in to be questioned one-on-one, which wasn't the case today. Judge Casper reiterated the instructions and sort of enhanced the instructions that she gave them when they were in the jury pool, saying, don't research this case on your own. Don't go read Black Mass or Whitey Bulger or any other books on this. Don't Google it. Avoid media coverage of it. She, as we, I think, have discussed, she didn't issue a blanket prohibition on media consumption, but she said, if you see a TV segment about this, turn the channel. If you hear it on the radio, turn the station. If you read it in the newspaper, turn the page. She stressed that if anyone approaches the jurors to talk about the case, and that could be a member of the media, that could be a family member of a alleged Bulger victim, that could be someone who's a friend of Bulger's, don't talk with them, come and tell me, Judge Casper told the jurors. And then also she said it's important that we maintain the appearance of propriety. So don't make small talk with the defense attorneys. Don't make small talk with the prosecution. This needs to look like it's totally above board.
All right, so opening statements tomorrow, presumably.
Yep.
What's the defense strategy? We can hear the prosecution, but what's the defense going to be?
I wish I had an answer for you. This whole the claim that he wasn't...
The immunity? No.
He's going to try to push that. And the judge is going to try to restrict him, and the government's going to get upset. But he has to put that out there. He has to put out there that he was with the government, and now all of a sudden they've turned on him. But what's curious about it is that he's saying that he was not an informant. So it seems
he was
to that
a liaison.
Extent, right? Well, he said that he purchased.
So much classier.
They didn't purchase information. He purchased information. So to some extent, it seems that this is about legacy. I mean, Bulger is in his 80s. He's no matter what happens, for him to hit. What, he has to hit, about 20 home runs here? Maybe 25 in a row? That's not a likely prospect. So even if he got a relatively short sentence out of this, he's probably going to spend the rest of his life in jail. So to some extent, for him, it's about legacy, but his lawyer has got to be trying to win. The lawyer isn't interested in legacy for the client.
Well,
so I'm going to be as interested as anybody else to see how it unfolds.
Bulger's going to want to say he didn't murder Deborah Davis and Deborah Hussey Wright. He's going to push that.
Right.
And then I think J.W. Carney is going to try to say, however bad a guy my client may have been, he was part of a system that was rotten to the core, and he's being made the fall guy for that whole system.
Right, and he's going to go after Stevie Fleming, for sure.
Right. Yeah. No question, because he turned state's evidence on him. All right, Adam, Reilly, Jack Una, we will see what happens tomorrow. All right, stay tuned to WGBH for continuing coverage of the Whitey Bulger trial right here on Greater Boston, as well as 89.7 WGBH Radio and at WGBHnews.org. And to kick off the start of the trial, we'll have a special 1-hour retrospective on the Bulger case. That's the Whitey Bulger special tomorrow night at 7.